Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping into a book that really pushes back against, well, almost the entire self-help world.
Yeah, it's quite the phenomenon.
It is. Our source material today is Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Feck. And look, if you're expecting, sunshine and rainbows about manifesting pure joy, this probably isn't it.
Definitely not. He calls it a brutally honest guide.
Exactly. Brutally honest. And I think that's what makes it resonate. We need to unpack that honesty. Because he's really diagnosing something in our culture, isn't he? This nonstop pressure.
Oh, absolutely. The obsession with being positive all the time. Being successful. Happy. Always happy.
It sets these, impossible standards. And the irony is, chasing that just makes us feel...
more anxious, less fulfilled.
Totally. Inadequate, even.
Right. And what's interesting is that his solution isn't, try harder to be positive. It's almost the opposite.
Okay, so what is the mission for us today, then? How do we approach this?
Well, I think our mission is to cut through all that cultural noise, get to the core idea, which is pretty revolutionary, actually. How you can live a better, clearer life by fundamentally caring less.
Caring less. That sounds counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Like apathy.
But it's not apathy. That's the key distinction. It's about being strategic, intentional. It's about where you choose to invest your care.
Okay, strategic caring. I like that. Let's dig into that. This sounds like the scarcity principle you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. Manson uses this, let's say, provocative metaphor.
The limited frake to give.
Precisely. He argues our time, our energy, our focus, it's all finite, limited bandwidth. You only have so many units of caring in your life.
An emotional currency.
A finite emotional currency. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And the consequence of that scarcity.
It's huge, especially now with social media, constant news cycles. If you spend that currency, those effects on, say, things that don't really matter in the long run.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, like getting bent out of shape about someone cutting you off in traffic, or obsessing over getting likes on a post, or even just that constant low-level fear of what others think.
Things that drain you but don't add value.
Exactly. You're basically emotionally bankrupting yourself on trivialities. So when something genuinely important comes up, a relationship issue, a career challenge, a family crisis...
you've got nothing left in the tank.
You're running on empty. An emotional deficit. You just don't have the reserves for what actually moves the needle.
Okay, that makes logical sense. Stop sweating the small stuff, basically, so you have energy for the big stuff. But how do you decide? Everything feels urgent sometimes.
That's where values come in. It's about creating a filter. Real strength, Manson argues, isn't about having no weaknesses. It's about focusing your energy on values that are truly meaningful to you and, importantly, are within your control.
Values within your control, like what?
Well, the book points to things like honesty, taking responsibility, humility admitting you don't know everything, and a commitment to growth, to learning.
Why those specifically?
Because they're process-oriented. They depend on your internal effort, not external results you can't always dictate.
Right, you can always choose to try to be honest or responsible.
Exactly. Contrast that with values like being popular or being rich or always being right. Those depend heavily on other people or external luck. They're unstable ground.
So you build your foundation on these internal, controllable values. That's where you spend your facts.
That's the idea. You prune your emotional budget, focus it there.
Okay, pruning the budget, which means we need to budget for, well, the unavoidable stuff. Problems, pain.
Yes, this is a major shift from that toxic positivity culture.
Which tells you to avoid negativity at all costs.
Right. Manson flips it. He says, forget avoiding problems. Life is problems. That's the default setting. Happiness isn't the absence of problems.
It's finding problems you actually want to solve. Problems worth the struggle.
Precisely. Choosing which struggles are meaningful to you.
So it reframes the whole idea of desire.
Completely. He says the question isn't, what do I want? That's too easy.
Okay, so what's the real question?
The real tougher question is, what pain am I willing to endure to get what I want?
Oof. Okay. That hits differently.
It does, right? Because every single thing worth having comes with its own flavor of difficulty, its own associated pain.
Yeah.
Like, you want that amazing career. Okay, be prepared for the pain of long hours, maybe rejection, the stress of competition. You want a deep, committed relationship. Get ready for the pain of difficult conversations, vulnerability, compromise.
The struggle is part of the package.
It is the package, in
Okay.
a way. If you want the reward, but you're unwilling to embrace the struggle that comes with it, well, then you don't truly want it. You just like the idea of it.
This connects to something really crucial. You mentioned the difference between pain and suffering.
Yes, absolutely critical distinction.
Pain is inevitable, you said, is the price of admission for trying, for living.
It's just feedback, physical, emotional signals that something is happening, loss, effort, challenge. It just is.
But suffering is different.
Suffering is optional. It's what happens when we resist the pain, when we resist reality.
How so? Give me that breakup example again.
Okay. Relationship ends. The pain, the sadness, the loss, that's inevitable, that's human. The suffering comes when you refuse to accept it's over.
Like endlessly replaying arguments, stalking their social media.
Exactly. Or telling yourself stories about how unfair it is, blaming everything and everyone except accepting the reality. It's done. That mental loop, that resistance, that is the suffering you're adding on top of the initial pain.
And that resistance keeps you stuck.
Completely stuck. Because if you spend all your energy running away from discomfort, avoiding pain,
You can't grow. Because growth inherently involves discomfort, facing challenges.
Precisely. You stagnate. And interestingly, a lot of that avoidance, that desperate need for things to be easy and painless, is often tied to this other cultural pressure.
The pressure to be extraordinary.
Bingo. Which brings us to the idea of accepting ordinariness.
Yeah, our culture is obsessed with the exception, isn't it? The overnight success, the genius, the billionaire.
Constant bombardment, everyone's supposed to be remarkable, changing the world, going viral.
It creates this feeling that if you're not that, you're somehow failing.
Right. And Manson's point is, that's nuts. Statistically, almost nobody is extraordinary in that sense. And the relief, the actual freedom that comes from accepting that you are, fundamentally okay, just being normal.
Capable, doing your best.
Yes. It's incredibly liberating. It frees you from that relentless, soul-crushing chase for external validation, for being special.
But hang on, does accepting ordinariness mean giving up? Like settling for mediocrity? How do you square that with striving?
That's a really important clarification. No, it's not about stopping striving. It's not an excuse to slack off.
Okay.
It's about changing your metrics. Accepting ordinariness means you stop basing your self-worth on whether you're in the top 1%. You shift your focus from external validation, fame, applause, being statistically better, to internal metrics.
Right.
Like, was I honest today? Did I take responsibility for my actions? Did I put in consistent effort towards something I value? Did I learn something? It's about your process, your integrity, not your rank compared to others.
So striving for personal excellence, but detaching your core worth from the outcome or comparison.
You got it. That's the nuance.
Yeah.
And this acceptance, this internal focus, ties directly into another huge theme. Responsibility.
Radical responsibility.
Absolute radical. Manson is adamant. You have to take full ownership of your choices, your reactions, your experiences. Even, and this is the hard part, even when the circumstances feel totally unfair, totally out of your control.
But that feels wrong sometimes. If something genuinely bad happens to you, how is it your responsibility?
It's not about fault. That's the key. It's not saying the bad thing was your fault. It's saying your response to the bad thing is 100% your responsibility.
Okay, explain that difference.
Well, think about what happens when you blame. You blame your boss, your ex, the economy, whatever. What are you doing?
Venting, pointing the finger.
You're giving away your power. You're making yourself a victim of circumstance, waiting for the external thing to change before you can feel better or move forward.
Which might never happen.
Often doesn't. But if you own it, if you say, okay, this unfair thing happened, it wasn't my fault it happened, but it is my responsibility to choose how I react now, what I learn from this, what steps I take next.
You take back control.
You regain agency. You become the driver again, not the passenger being tossed around. Responsibility isn't about blame. It's about reclaiming your power to choose your path forward, even from a difficult spot.
Okay, that reframes responsibility completely. It's empowering, not burdensome.
Exactly. It's the path out of feeling stuck.
So let's try and synthesize this. We've got limited effects, the need to choose our problems wisely, finding peace in ordinariness, and taking radical responsibility. What's the big picture here? What's the ultimate goal?
Fundamentally, it all comes back to values. The whole philosophy is essentially a framework for filtering your life through your chosen controllable values.
It's about consciously deciding what gets your precious energy and attention.
And having the courage to let go of everything else. All the distractions, the trivialities, the things that drain you or pull you away from what you've decided truly matters.
So how does this connect to happiness then? Because we started by saying this isn't a typical happiness book.
Right. Because Manson redefines happiness. True sustainable happiness, he argues, isn't found in chasing some perfect, problem-free fantasy life, the one plastered all over Instagram.
A highlight reel.
Yeah. Real fulfillment, real meaning is found within the struggle. It's found in solving the problems you've chosen to care about. It's in the messy, difficult, imperfect, but ultimately authentic real life you're actually living.
So finding meaning in the imperfection, not in escaping it.
Exactly. Embracing the flawed reality, engaging with it honestly and responsibly, that's where the deep satisfaction lies, not in some unattainable ideal.
So for you listening, the takeaway from this deep dive isn't some magic formula for bliss. It's maybe more profound. It's about permission.
Permission to stop chasing the ghost of a perfect life.
Yeah. And instead, permission to fully commit to living the real one you have, with all its inherent challenges, its necessary pains, and the hard choices you have to make.
And maybe here's a final thought, something for you to chew on. If you did a quick audit right now of your day, your thoughts, where are you leaking those limited effects?
A leaking energy on things that don't align with those core controllable values: honesty, growth, responsibility.
Exactly. Where is that energy going? And maybe more importantly, what value, what struggle actually deserves that focus instead? Really think about that line between pain, the necessary signal, and suffering, which is often just you fighting reality.
That's a powerful audit to conduct. Thank you for exploring that with us, and thank you for listening till the end. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please like, follow, and stay tuned for more deep and inspiring podcasts every week.
Until next time, stay mindful, stay curious, and take care.